sometimes we would try to use the child to make the child love us more or be our friend more than the other parent to get leverage.
Yeah.
In the long term, statistics shows that children would be the ones that suffer. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome back to another edition, man, of the Father's Heart Podcast with Sean, myself, and my brother Cole, the bearded one, one that's looking like Moses.
You see it on the side? Do you see the side?
I do. That sucker look like it has grown in these last few weeks, man.
Yeah, it's
Don't do that.
I watched it today, and then I was able to squeeze it all together.
Don't do that. Nobody cares. Nobody cares, bro.
Everybody cares, bro. Everybody cares, Sean.
No.
And when I step in the scene, the first thing someone says, "Man, I love your beard." Thank you.
Oh my gosh, bro.
Yeah. So it's a beautiful thing, man. What's going on with you, man? 2022.
Yo, I'm so ready. Brother. Yo, bro, happy New Year, man. Good to see you, man. Look, man, I miss you, man. We missed the last few weeks, man, but I'm so excited. I'm amped, man. Set up my goals for the year, bro. I hit 2022. Rocking and rolling. I'm excited. I got a whole new, fatherhood cohort starting up next month, man. Doing some recruiting, running some ads to get men to come. And it's filling up fast, bro. Like after 2 days, man, all the spots are almost done.
Wow.
And so the thing about it, man, is that my funding only allow me to work with so many people at one time. Okay. And so now, I mean, even though it's a good thing, but I'm just like, yo, what am I gonna do with these other people that need services and help?
Well, you train the men, brother.
Yo, I need some more money. That's what it is. I need some more money so I can hire some more people.
That's what you need. Well, you know what? That's what we want. That's what we need, and that's what God is gonna give us.
That's what I'm talking about.
When we ask about it, He gives us. So, man, I feeling good too, man. I've been connecting with a lot of young fathers, man, and I'm talking about fathers under the age of 18, not 18 and up.
Yes, sir.
You know, and I had the opportunity to sit with about 5 young dads in the juvenile detention center, and you know what, man? What I was so blown away by, which we shouldn't be blown away by, is the fact that many of these young brothers were talking about their worries and concerns about being dads as if they were 30 and 40-year-old first-time fathers themselves, right? Who had the resources. And I discovered, man, that it doesn't matter what age you are when you become a parent, right? Those concerns that you have for your children, for your family, how you plan to raise them, the stresses of raising children and having children can be trickled down right onto what I'm working with are young men that are between the ages of 15 and 17, man. It's just amazing. It really is. It really is. So I'm just been honored that they listen to me as they call me the OG. And I'm like, am I the OG?
Am I really the OG?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Am I really the OG? But I guess you are, partner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm OG. So I got to ask you this question, bro, because I'm trying to understand what's going on with your head, because you got a hat on, and I'm like, well, man, I know it's cold, so that it's just justifiable. But you in your office, I rarely see you in a hat, and I keep a hat on me, so you already know. And I ain't got my hat on. I'm like, why are you switching the game up, bro?
So listen, man. I'm trying to put my coal on. I'm trying to get my coal.
Here we go.
All right.
Here we
trying
go.
to get my coal on. But no, man, listen, I haven't shaved my head in about 4 days. And listen, let's just say I wasn't blessed through my father's side of the family to have a whole head of hair at this stage in my life.
Okay.
Let's just say my grandmama was bald.
Ooh, okay. I love bald. I love it.
So right now, when my hair grows back, some people say it looked like a cow licked me up in these sections, right up in here. So so I got my LeBron James going. So right now I'm not gonna give you guys the luxury to try to kill me on national Facebook. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna put
man.
my hat on.
Yeah, I get that. Is it rough too, bro? Like, is it like, like the little bump with the hair trying to shoot up and it's like,
Oh, now you're trying to talk about my grade.
oh, my bad.
You trying to talk
No, I
about the
wasn't saying that, bro.
grade of my hair.
No, bro, I'm just saying, when the hair grow
No,
up.
you trying to talk about the grade. No, my grade is pretty good now. It just doesn't grow. It just doesn't cooperate when it comes to growing.
I got you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You, bro.
All right. Let's stay focused.
Okay.
Let's stay focused.
So, yeah. But I can't say nothing, because I got little soft spots, and I just use my little and it goes black real instantly. So I'm good. I can get you a bottle too, bro. Your whole head be
no, because sometimes I rub my head and I don't want to rub my head, and then it's on my hand. So I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
So listen, man.
Wait, we're gonna let it go. We're gonna let it go. Talk to us, Sean.
So listen, man. Tonight, man, is a pretty good topic, man, and I can't wait to talk about the legit or not legit, because I think that is something that's important as well. But tonight, man, I wanted to talk to you about parents using their children as pawns, bro.
Ooh.
That's what I want to tap into, right? Is how parents, and I'm not going to even say just mothers, right? Because most of the time moms have custody. But since I've opened up this supervised visitation, right? Okay. And most of my clients, which is blowing my mind, when somebody says, Sean, you're going to do supervised visitation, I'm just going to tell you automatically, I thought most of my clients were going to be men.
Can I ask you why?
99% of my clients are women. And so you said, why? Why did I think that? I thought that because most of the people I work with, the mother have custody of the child.
Yeah.
Right. And so most of the time mom has custody. And so I'm thinking like, okay, who needs to be supervised is the dad because mom has custody. But in this space so far, most of my clients are mothers, man.
Wow.
And so one of my clients, I can see how my man uses his children as a pawn against mom. Right? Wow. And so that was one of the things, man, that triggered this conversation tonight is I want to talk about the impact and hear from some of the people in the Facebook community, people that rock with us, of your thoughts and your experiences and how you feel concerning parents using their children as pawns. And you've been in this space for a minute, Cole. So what is your thoughts or your experience on this topic?
Well, this is an interesting topic, right? Because there's two different versions of pawning, right?
Okay.
One version of pawning is that I'm going to pawn my children on somebody that care about the kids so I can have a space and get away from these kids, right? So that's that. Okay. So I'm pawn them on usually it's the grandparents you pawn the children on, right? And then there's parental alienation, right? Where we specifically as a parent find these things to say or create untruths around abuse or neglect for the other parent just to shift that narrative so that they look like the bad person, right? And I think when parents start operating out of parental alienation, if we were to dig deep into that and unpack that, what we start to discover really is parents are hurting. That I'm hurt, I'm angry. The best way I know to get you is to attack you where your heart is, and that's through our children. And I find that that's where the core of all of this is, but it's messy, man. And so it feels messy, and there could be a lot of damage that's done. When we think they're doing it to the parent, the damage really happens to the children. And I think that's where the issue really lies, is that so much of what's happening when we are pawning our kids against each other or against the other parent. It's really about hurting the other parent. But what they forget to realize is that they hurt the kids. Yeah, and I've seen that all the time without people even knowing that they're pawning doing that. So that's another thing, man. The verbiage is I'm mad at you. You not seeing the kids. Better yet, I'm gonna call somebody and report you, and we're gonna start this whole game in an act to keep you from the kids. But really, it's the core that is that I'm hurting, and and typically I think we see that sometimes in divorces, where there's a divorce that takes place. But I mean, it can happen any given time. I don't want this relationship anymore. The kids like you more. I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure your life is miserable. And the best way to do that is to get you at the heart, and that's through your children.
Yeah, listen, man. I have a parent, man. One parent in particular who, who was on drugs, right,
Okay.
and that are getting in their life back together,
Okay.
and the parent, the parent who does have custody, um, and my job is that I need to be in the middle, right? I can't
Yep.
show favoritism towards any one of them, right?
Okay.
But as a professional, as a practitioner, I see what's going on, right? And one of my biggest concerns about some of the work that I do as it relates to this, Cole, is that these people are ordered to have supervised visitation, but what is not ordered is for them to have therapy.
Ooh.
And so understand this. Just imagine you are ordered to have supervised visitation over your child, who
Right.
is your child. You have somebody in there watching you. And
Right.
then when it's time for you to leave, or whatever the case, that child is crying and saying, I want my daddy. And you like, hey, I'm here with you. I'm here
Right.
with you. You
Right.
safe. And that
Right.
child says to you, Cole, no, my other daddy.
Ooh. Why are we doing this, bro?
And, and, and that's the one who's picking them up. So now,
Ah.
you have to be supervised.
Ooh.
And so
Yeah.
now the child leaves. Now you're here in my office. Everything's done. Now I just send you home, bro. I'll see you next week. How do you
Yeah.
think you feel, bruh, as a
I
father?
feel well. I don't feel like a father, right? I feel like, of course, I failed. Everyone around me has failed me, and my child doesn't see me as dad anymore, right? So guess what? I start to get angry, resentful, bitter.
Right?
Yeah, and now I'm ready to act out if I can.
You ready to act out, right? And so that
Ready to act.
other parent who has custody, they like, cool. They like this because now they getting back at you, right? And then you got the stepdad or the new, boyfriend, they riding off in the sunset, but now you on the side, like, so where's the help for you? And a lot of
Well,
times in this space, I'm just learning this space, bruh. Like I'm keeping it 100. You know what I mean? Like it's tough seeing these parents leave and them not getting assistance and them not getting help. All they doing is just being required in most cases just to be supervised, but they're not saying, yo, you know what? I need you. Do you have additional services? Do you have parenting education for this one and that one? How do we better co-parent? Right, because this is a difficult situation. How do we co-parent? How do we keep them from using their position as leverage to hurt the other person?
right. Well, Sean, that's what you're asking is one. What you're doing is difficult, right? And I guess for me, my question is, as the person in the middle, seeing what you're describing right now, that for me says that okay, now here's another gap in what we see as it relates to servicing families, specifically families that are in these types of spaces, and how do we find partnerships and collaborations to make sure that we are asking those kind of questions? Because you're right, why are we not offering therapeutic support for families? Why are we not making sure that they are getting the parental education that they need around co-parenting. Is that just a county thing? Is that something that is just specifically to your county? Is that across the board? I just feel like, man, what I'm seeing in the work too is that systems don't work well together. They're not communicating well together.
Yes.
Not braiding funds the way that they're supposed to in terms of serving families. And what I
Yes.
discover is that when they're not doing any of that work, families lose because we are all servicing the same families.
Absolutely, bro.
You know,
Absolutely.
and so I know that there's support available, but again, I'm often asking the question, who's asking those questions, right? And then who is making sure that the information is passed on so that the services that families need, they're actually getting the services that they actually need. And where's the family voice and choice in all of that?
And that's the biggest thing, bro, that that I see is that, I didn't know this space really existed, right? I just
Yeah.
saw a problem and I'm like, yo, let me fill it.
Yep.
Right. Some of my dads, they need supervised visitation. They need to be monitored, right? Because they wasn't in this child's life for long periods of time. So,
Right.
to make things easier for mom to feel a lot more secure and safe, right? That child is going to be okay. And even the helping the child. But I never expected this side of the pain. Because most of these, there's drugs involved or was probably involved, or a bad breakup. A lot of stuff have taken place. And what I'm seeing, man, there's a lot of hurt because there was a breakup and now one of the parties have a new significant other or whatever the case. But one party, a lot of times, man, is really being, facetious on purpose and intentional. And I'm
Yeah.
watching these visiting parents walk away with a whole lot of pain.
Wow.
And so me as a provider, I have to remain neutral.
Yeah.
So I can show empathy, but I have to remain neutral because my assignment is for the sake of the child.
Yeah.
Making sure it's a safe environment. But it doesn't turn off my empathy meter, knowing that this one person is walking away and not knowing if they was already triggered and having a drug problem. Bro, this is the very thing that can trigger them to go back down that path.
Yeah. So when we talk about systemic change, right, part of me is saying that this is a really big issue that is impacting families in a major way. And that if we don't start to address these kinds of issues, right, we just continue the vicious cycle of these families being cycled through all of these systems. But I think the core of what you're saying is that if we're really talking about supporting children, we also have to really be talking about how do we support families. And that parents, mothers, and fathers, or whoever the caregiver is that is appointed to that child. But we do a really good job of saying we support children. It's about children. It's about children. But we tend to only support the parent who is the custodial.
Yes.
That's the person that gets the
Yes.
support. And really, I mean, we have to sound the alarm of that and say, no, that's not real. There is another parent. If the parent is stepping up and wants to do, provide the support that they need for the child, but we don't do a really good job of supporting the other parent who is not,
Facts.
responsible or in the home with the child. And I think that that's a disservice to children across the board, whether it's dad or if it's mom.
Facts.
So, man, you got a lot of, that's a lot of work, brother.
Yo, so this is my thing. Like, for those who's out there watching this, right? So, I'm talking to those who was in a relationship where you have a baby daddy or a baby mama or whatever the case. And I don't even know if I should even be saying baby daddy, baby mama, or whatever, if that's offensive. So excuse me if that's offensive. But if you have a child by your previous partner, right? I want to sound the alarm to let you know that it's vitally important for you to find ways to effectively co-parent. Never use your child as a pawn. Never use them as a pawn, because for the moment you are getting advantage. And and this is the thing, man, even if you are living in the same crib, you may be married. Right? You may be married. And I'm not talking about where you are not together. You may be in a relationship currently, and sometime we would try to use the child to make the child love us more or be our friend more than the other parent to get leverage.
Yeah.
In the long term, statistics shows that children would be the ones that suffer. Right? The other party is definitely suffering. And let's keep it 100. You suffering as well.
Yeah.
Because the reason why you're doing it is that you're trying to get back. Because you
But
remember,
yeah.
hurt people hurt people.
And when I'm hurting, guess what? People don't think about it. I'm not thinking about actually that I'm really the core of what I'm doing is that I'm hurt. The core of what I'm doing is that I'm mad and that you've done me wrong. And so when it comes to conflict, it's rare that we use conflict resolution skills, right?
Yep.
Because you got to be oftentimes trained in conflict resolution skills. You got to know how to de-escalate when someone's escalated, but that is not something that naturally comes to you. So the natural reaction is to you wronged me. This is my perception of what you did to me, and it hurt. And guess what I'm going to do? If I have the power to do so, I'm going to make it very difficult for you.
Absolutely.
And I deserve to make it difficult for you because you hurt me and you hurt my child. And that is sometimes the narrative and the perception that I think the parent takes on, whether it's mom or dad, to justify why they might be behaving the way that they're behaving. So I think it goes back to, and we say this all the time, Sean, it goes back to really looking at trauma. I'm just talking to my son, recognizing, man, a breakup is a traumatic experience, man. And depending on what type of breakup it is, and where all of the pieces land, it can change your whole entire life. And so I think one of the things I keep learning is that trauma, that's a hard thing to parent, but it's actually a hard thing to work through, like working through traumatic experiences. And so trauma is ugly. Trauma, as you know, that boy shows out. It'll cuss you out. It'll do all kinds of things that are out of character. But I think that you're right, Sean. At some point, we have to agree that there's a lot of work that we need to do as parents, because if it really is about our children, then we have to get our egos out of the way, and we've got to put our children first. But some people believe, man, as you know, this man acted out, or this woman mistreated me, so he doesn't deserve to have access to the kid.
Yes,
and
he doesn't deserve.
You can't. He
doesn't deserve.
That's not fair to say. That's not fair to say. But a lot of people use that. He doesn't deserve it.
He or she doesn't deserve, because now you finally have the upper hand to try to make this other person suffer.
Yeah. Hurt is hard. Hurt is hard, and we can see it happening with kids. So when adults don't properly deal with their hurt and get the therapy that you just talked about should be provided and offered for families, then you know what, children learn how to behave in that way too. This is what you do when you feel triggered. This is what you do when you're triggered and you feel angry. Then you yell, you curse, you isolate, you do all of these natural behaviors that you've seen the adults in your life naturally do. And so you believe that that's the mechanism of how you should behave. But man, what you're asking folks to do is do the real work. Put kids first.
Yes. And that's the thing. And a lot of times, man, people will ask, some other people in their circle, or, whatever the case, for some advice. But like, a lot of times you are a reflection of your circle. And so if your circle, like, man, I was talking to somebody earlier, man, and they was like, my significant other is giving people marital advice. They're like, giving them relationship advice. And this person is talking to me like, and been talking to me like, my marriage has been holding on by the hairs of his chinny chin for some time now. And I'm hearing my significant other like giving all of this advice out. It's just like, how are you giving advice out? You're not even taking the advice that you give other people.
Yeah, that's easy. It's easy to give versus take and receive, man. That's the people. because it's hard to do the work, man. And a lot of people I'm learning, man, don't want to do the work. So I'm saying in 2022, man, if this is, you got to do the work. If this is what you want to do, you got to do the work. If it's
This is the
about your
year.
healing, you got to do the work.
You know what? I think that's what we will make. I think that's what we gonna coin. That's our model for the year.
Yeah.
Do the work.
Do the
Right.
work.
So whatever you want healing, you want to blow up, you want your business to blow up, you want to blow up, whatever it is, the model this year is do the work.
Do the work. Do the work. And you'll see the outcome of it. But doing the work is hard. It's so much easier to do work for others than it is to take that time to do that work for yourself. But once you do the work and you start to do it, you'll start to see some real outcomes. But man, but again, if I don't know myself, I mean, we keep going back to this stuff, man. Part of this is that I have to know myself. And that is hard when I have been conditioned to know everybody else except for me.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's why I wear a hat, because I know myself. Because I know where I'm lacking. Cole, I know where I'm lacking. So I got a hat on so you can't see my shortcomings.
Look, that's why I wear my little black spray.
Listen,
I know what I got to do to be on camera.
but that's important, man.
No,
honestly, man. But you are absolutely right, man.
Yeah.
Like, this year, man. People have to be willing to do the work, right? So I understand you had a bad breakup. I understand that the relationship ain't work out right. Because the truth of the matter is that mom or dad, they can actually be a good parent, but a horrible or not so good significant other.
Yeah.
Right? They may not have, modeled, the best, being the best husband or whatever the case. But, listen, it is work in progress. But the thing about it, man, is that they can still be a great dad or a great mom. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so don't rob your child of the experience of having the other party in their lives. Right. And a lot of times, man, we would do that out of pain and out of hurt. And, that we want to make the other person suffer. Like, yeah, you got them. Checkmate. Right. Checkmate. Yeah. You got them. But at the end of the day, that child is the one that suffers, bro. That suffers. My children are my biggest. My children is the thing that really keep me going in this work, because I'm here for a lot of their experiences, their hurt, their disappointments. My daughter, we was up to like 2 a.m. last night. Why? Because she's trying out for the pom team. Yo, I'm getting tired of hearing this same song. I'm like, I know I'm gonna hear that sucker in my sleep.
Man.
I know I'm gonna hear it in my sleep. But what's happening? She's nervous. She's going through all of this stuff, right? So her mom and dad is here to help navigate that process. And sometimes parents will neglect that. Like, my wife can be one way, but then she need to hear her daddy say something different, right? Yeah. So why rob your child of having the best of both worlds?
Yeah. And I think what you just said is beautiful too, Sean, because what we also are suggesting for parents to recognize is that how beautiful their role is in the life of their children, and the fact that your presence means so much to your children, and that it is less about what you provide in terms of giving gifts and items, but as much as they can remember the importance of the time that you've given and provided for them. She'll never forget this experience, right? Yes. She'll always remember that dad was up with me till 2 a.m, helping me prepare for this. And that is what memories are made up of. And I keep telling folks in my own experience as a father that when I look at the pictures that are on my wall and in these frames, what I'm left with are the memories of those moments. And I think we have to move away from giving kids gifts and creating consistent, beautiful moments that will outlast all of the trauma and all of the things that they will be up against in the world. And so I think that's what we have to shift these conversations to, and helping parents recognize that you are the best gift. Yes. So not only are you the best gift, but the other person that you at one point liked for some apparent reason, And I mean, you liked her, you
Yep.
liked him, you liked her, or y'all
For
loved
whatever
each
reason,
other
you like
for
them.
whatever reason. That's got to be enough for you to say, I'm going to continue to hold space and an opportunity for this other parent because I understand that at some point too, this was a person that I cared about, and this person is a bigger version of the person that we made. And so,
Yes.
why not allow us both to have the opportunity to celebrate this beautiful child that we both created? But that requires work.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's work,
It's a
man.
dance, man. And sometimes, man,
Work.
like, yo, the other party, they can't dance as well as you.
Yeah,
Right. So they may not be as swift and as, as nimble and the whole nine. And
yeah,
what I'm saying is like one parent may be better than the other parent at parenting.
yeah.
But
Woo.
listen, help the other parent dance better, right? They may not know. So, but it's through conversation. If you can be patient and not be so, emotional or take things personal, like, that they doing this to you. And because the relationship didn't work, like, I'm going to get back at you. Like, no, like, I'm going to shift my position. And now I'm going to help you because I want you to be the best father or mother for our child.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, our child want us both.
So I hear this, Sean, right? This is what I hear often, and this is I particularly hear this from moms, is that, you know what? I hold space for him. He says he's going to show up, and he says he's going to be in the meeting. He's going to come. He's going to show up. He's going to do all these things. He shows up one time. He doesn't show up anymore. And then guess what I'm left with? I'm left with a resentful kid who wants a relationship with his mom or wants a relationship with dad, but dad or mom just not keep their word. So guess what I need to do? I need to protect my child from this other parent. And so guess what? They're not going to see him anymore. And so how do you help a parent sort of see that, well, you still need to allow that person some space and still offer teaching while at the same time recognizing you need to protect your child. But at some point, it's like, no, I am protecting my child until this person is ready. But by the time that person gets ready, it may be too late. So it's so difficult.
I tell you, bro, it's difficult. You know what's difficult? My daughter dating a young man. I don't want her
Okay.
heart broke. I don't want her heart to be broken. Right? I don't want her heart to be broken. I don't want her to entertain certain things. But guess what? Life is going to happen. The best thing I can do is be present and be there for her and help her learn how to navigate life in a safe space. Because life is going to life her, whether it's with me or without me. So I'd rather her get lifed with me so I can help her go through the process. So my thing is with those parents who saying, yo, I keep on saving space, he disappointing. Guess what? We're gonna have a real conversation with child about disappointment, about how do you feel, about what's going on. What's the process? How do we navigate this? Because this is the reality that we live. I don't want to paint a picture that's not real, bruh.
Yeah.
I want to paint a picture that's not real.
Yeah.
If your dad is not consistent, we need to talk about that. He loves you. I'm not making excuses for him. We don't know why he's doing what he's doing. At the end of the day, he's your father. This is his role. This is what we want him to play or whatever. But I'm going to guard my child's heart, but we're going to talk about their emotion. How do you feel?
Yeah.
Right? Because I can keep him away, but he's still going to do damage. It's still going to be damage because he's not there.
Yeah.
So we need to talk about it one way. I don't know all of the answers, but I'm just telling you, you can't act like it doesn't exist. You got to deal with the elephant in the room.
No, I love that, man, because what I also feel like I heard you saying too, which I think is really important that we got to recognize, is that once we know who the parent is, or the man is, or the woman is in their parenting, then we also have to hold space for acceptance.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
it's funny how I always imagined, for some apparent reason, I don't know, I fell in love with Claire Huxtable on the Cosby Show. And for some apparent reason, I thought that my mother should be more like Claire Huxtable.
Come on, man.
That's what I thought. I thought that. And so I carried that level of judgment about my mother for years
She
because
ain't
I
no
could
Claire
not
Huxtable.
understand why you not Claire Huxtable, right? Why are you not like
And
her?
guess what? She ain't trying to be Claire
And she's
Huxtable.
trying to be a Claire Huxtable, right? But what I recognized is there was this unmet need that I had as a child that entered my life, and then I found myself trying to make my mother in my own mind be somebody that she wasn't.
Yep.
And so it's like, man, when we can help the our kids who are struggling with parents that might have these type of behavior patterns recognize that, how do I love and accept my parent just the way that they are? How do I do that? Because the best way that I can do that is to watch my mama and my dad, whoever the caretaker is, accept mom and dad the way that they are. Now,
Yep.
I can't change behavior, but guess what? We can find a space to recognize that that's your dad.
Yep.
And regardless of this, he isn't going to be whatever it is you thought he should be or expect him to be. But this is who he is, and how do you love him in that space?
And you know what's crazy, bro? I think about some of the experiences that I had when I was a kid. I was left because parents think you don't know.
Oh my man, yeah.
They think you don't know, right? So this is the thing, is that because nobody didn't explain or talk to me about it, and they didn't think I understood, I was left to come to my own conclusion.
Yeah.
And my own conclusion could have been tainted.
Absolutely.
Because I'm young. I don't understand. I don't know how to process all of this. I don't understand grown folk stuff, right? And so because no one was taught or thought it was important to have that conversation with me,
right,
I just went through life on my own about those experiences. So it's not until I become a grown man with a beard and children and a wife for me to say, oh, now I get it.
Yeah.
But how many women or people I met along the way was hurt because of the picture in the movie I watched without explanation?
Absolutely. That's it, man.
And so your children, they know. They hear when you whispering.
Yeah.
That whenever somebody mention his or her dad's name, you start to whisper. They like, yo, eventually they gonna know. Look at the body language. Oh, it must be something bad. Oh, it must be something negative. Like, who's she cussing at? Or who he cussing at? So now I'm creating my own narrative. Absolutely. Instead of me as a parent taking this time and say, you know what, I'm gonna help you understand and process this at your level. Especially when you get exposed to it.
Yeah.
If you're not exposed to it, we don't need to really have that conversation as much. But when you start to know and you asking questions, oh, we need to start dealing with that.
Yeah. And that's man, I keep saying, man, this stuff is a skill. I don't know about you, but I really had to do some research on understanding parenting. Because my parenting development was really taught from watching my mother. So I learned how to parent from watching her and then other adults who were parenting. And then once I discovered that there were some things that they were doing that I didn't really quite agree with, it required me to do some research. But I also had to take a parenting class where I had to really start to understand what this thing was. So that I could ask the proper questions. And I think that's the other piece to this puzzle is that sometimes we only give and talk about what we know.
Yep.
And parenting is there's so much information in the world about it now, but it definitely requires you to do the research so that you can have the level of understanding and knowledge to be able to recognize what you're describing and say to your child, okay, we need to have this kind of conversation.
Absolutely.
But there's so much old school philosophies around children have a place. It's better to be seen and not heard. All of those messages that just kind of identify where children's places are, that we often don't talk to them about issues that we know that they are seeing, because children are to be seen and oftentimes not heard. And so that's a philosophy that I grew up under, and I mean, it impacted me greatly because I didn't have a voice in some of those spaces, but I watched the adults who were not doing a really good job of parenting.
Yes, sir.
I knew that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and so our children know. Our children know.
That's
Your
good,
children
man.
know. They know.
That's good. That's good.
And even what I love about children is even what all the knowledge that they have about knowing you, guess what they still do? Love you.
Yep. In spite of, bro. In spite of.
Dad only showed up one time. I still love him.
Listen, most of the time, children don't like you or act like they don't love you when you lie to them.
Oh, man. Don't even get me started on that one.
Just think about it. When you are authentically you, there's so much grace given.
Yeah.
But when you lie, that's when they despise you.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother conversation, man.
Yeah, we should talk. We got to talk about that another time, because my son was like, "Dad, you a liar." I'm like, "What you mean?" My son was like, "Dude, we go to church and we be in church going in." Now listen, I can go in running around. Boy, get home, I'm a whole different person. My son was like, "Man, Dad, you got to bring church home in church," and held my hand and made my hand go up. That's what I love about having children, because they will hold you accountable, especially your strong-willed children. They will say in public,
"Bro, you." That's for your son. That's for your son.
You up in here playing in church, playing in church. So yeah, it's real. It's real.
That is funny, man. Nah.
I didn't know we had sound effects, bro.
It has sound effects. Come on, bro. We out here. Actually, we out here. We got bicycles. Yeah, man. Yo, all right. So listen, man. Let's legit or not legit. Is this legit or not legit?
Okay.
Is it legit for your boyfriend or girlfriend to have say-so over your child? Let me say it this way. If your baby mama have a new boyfriend, should he have say-so about your child?
Ooh.
I'm going to say it again. Should your baby mother's new boyfriend, not new, but boyfriend, have say-so about your child? Is that legit or not legit for him to have say-so?
I don't even know if you could put legit and not legit in there.
Oh, yes, it is. Is it legit for him to have say-so over your child?
I guess it depends on what.
Is it legit or not legit? Is the question.
So, like, okay, we got to throw some stuff in there, man. So, like, are we talking about boyfriend that I've been kicking it with, girlfriend I've been kicking it with for a couple months, or we've been together for a couple years?
All right, well, you tell me which one is legit versus the one that's not legit. I mean, it sounds like you have.
You can't.
It sounds like that you have a level.
Degrees.
It sounds like you have degrees to it.
Yeah, there's some levels to that. You just coming out the gate talking about some. Well, yeah, the kids need to be in bed at just. No, what? Huh? You what? You. You can't be telling me when the kids go to bed. Nah, man. There's levels to that. I'm gonna say
you struggling, bro. You struggling.
I wish somebody on Facebook would say something, because
let me ask Facebook. I'm gonna ask them: is it legit or not legit? I don't know who's watching, but if your baby daddy or baby mama, right? If they have a baby daddy, is it legit for your baby daddy or baby mama, boyfriend or girlfriend, to have say so over your child?
Somebody answer that, please. Somebody.
I
want to say it's legit with levels.
So
that's my answer. It's legit.
That's your answer. Is legit with levels.
With levels, it's levels to it.
It's levels to it.
You're not showing up at the dinner when I introduce you to the kids, and now you telling me, well, they need this, and no, you gotta earn that.
Well, they with mom now, bro. They in the house with mom, man. They in a house with mom. He coming over there all the time.
Okay, so now we talking about levels, bro. Because that now he's been in the house.
My brother said head of house consideration. Consideration.
Ooh, well, let me say this then. Is he the head of the house if he moves in with mom?
Ooh.
Because I got a lot of boys. When I ask the question, has a man ever moved you and your family into their home and been the head of the household? And most boys say that I work with say no. Every man that has been involved in their life has been moved in, and when he don't act right, he gets put out. So I don't know.
So I'm with you.
Is he really the head?
That's a whole nother conversation.
So I'm gonna leave that there, yo. I'm gonna leave that there because he. I'm gonna leave that there,
bro. So my thing. Hold on, I think I got one more. Short term, no influence. I wish my man would be able to explain short term, no influence. So he's saying if he's there for
okay,
right, that makes sense, right?
That makes sense.
So
James, we got to get you on, James. We got to get you.
Well, I don't know, James. You know, we. Oh, he said baby boy syndrome. So you remember the movie Baby Boy? You remember that? The baby boy.
We doing that. We talking about the fetal.
Yeah.
We talking about that fetal position in the womb, the crib. James trying to get us started, man.
So I would like to bring James on because James is deep. But you and James were struggling last time.
Look, bro.
You and James, y'all internet was struggling. Y'all kept going bye-bye.
I think James jinxed me, bro, because my internet is good, bro. Yeah. If he come on,
we gonna have to bring James back
up. It's him.
We'll bring James back on. That's what we do. We bring James back on. You know, and I think that's what we do. Let's do this. I hope James is available next week. James, we want to invite you back on next week. And what we gonna do? We gonna talk about that baby boy syndrome. Boom. We're gonna talk about the baby boy syndrome. So mark your calendars. Next Thursday, we're gonna do another Facebook Live. Next Thursday, we're gonna talk about the baby boy syndrome. He said, I'm in Washington and South Carolina. I was in South Carolina. You said last time you was in South Carolina? Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? Okay. You big time now. You need to make sure you have great internet. All right. So we'll see about you next week. Yeah. So listen. All right. So you said legit with levels. I say I would have to agree with you, right? Because I can't say a blanket statement. I say it's legit with levels. And I'm going to say legit if my man is responsible. If he is a responsible man and he is not being the type of man I am, right? Because I'm not tripping on that. But if he is being responsible and he's being a great influence over my child, then I say he should have some say-so. He should have influence when he's in the house, right?
Okay.
But if he is whack, bruh, like, no, I don't want you saying anything. And now I'm kind of pissed that my child's mother is with a bum.
Ooh, so we got to talk about that.
Like, that's my thing. Is like, yo, why did you choose to link up with a bum? Or why did he choose to link up with a bumette?
You know how it go. How we were talking about this the last time. My man's wasn't a bum when she met him because he was smooth with it.
He was a bum, bro. No, word up. He was Cole.
Words, bro.
Cole, he was a bum when she met him, bruh. She just did not pay attention to the signs.
Didn't pay attention to the signs.
He was a bum. He was a bum when she met him. He might have been dressed up in all of the garb and had the Cartier glasses, whatever the stuff. He had all of that. But yo, his character and how he operated, he was a bum, bro. Like his conversation wasn't deep. He wasn't talking long term. It was just like these pie in the like, yo, she know. Don't get me going there. We can have a conversation, but most of the time, man, they know. Or I ain't gonna say they know, we know. We have discernment, right? Their discernment is a little bit better. But we have discernment. We know when we dealing with people who are whack, but what we do, we neglect to listen to that voice that tells us.
That goes back to when you know thyself. Yeah, and yeah, you can collect the data.
Yeah.
But we've got to learn that it's okay to collect data when we start to meet people, and then once we collect that data and we do that assessment and we see all those deficits, that we say, oh, it's okay, I deserve more, and that's okay. But that again, if I don't know myself and I don't love myself and I don't talk to myself and I don't believe in myself, then it'd be rare for me to do that.
See, James really trying to tap in. Look at him. You see, I'm gonna make this big. Look at that.
Come on, James. No,
you just make sure your internet is strong next week, bro.
James.
And honestly, that's what he did. He filled that void. Right? He filled that void. So let's stop. We're gonna talk about we're gonna talk about the baby boy syndrome next week. And I'm gonna show a clip. We're gonna show a clip next week of the baby boy, and we're gonna tap into that. I can't show my favorite scene. You know my favorite scene was?
Favorite scene, bro.
when my man built the fort. When he had that little fort and Snoop kicked the fort over, bro, I laughed for days, man. So I'm wrong. I can't show that one because he was, cussing it out. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna show Jody next week, man. We're gonna show that, and we're gonna tap in, and we're gonna move into that place, man. Where women, we may even ask Tasha to tap in. Because a lot of times women will definitely neglect to really pay attention to the signs that these dudes show them, and then unfortunately they wind up having a child by my man. It's just like, yo, he was a bum from the beginning, man.
Yeah, and same way for men too, man.
Same way.
It's the same concept. So no, I think having Tasha and James in the space makes a lot of sense, especially if we're unpacking something as deep as band.
Yeah, man, let's get it, man.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
All right, man. Yo, we appreciate you guys for tapping in and rocking out with us again, man. So, continue to grow with us. That's another episode of A Father's Heart podcast.
Yes.
See you next week.
Have a good night, everybody.
Let's get it.